Hi, welcome back to another video. We're going to power through. We got a lot to talk about. We have to get ready in a half hour for a date. And if you think my hair's crazy right now, then aliens. Listen, this mentally ill tranny is about to drop some truth bombs on you. And I'm using that terminology to get your attention because I'm allowed to use slurs. Not you, Nancy. Stop it. We're going to talk about Nancy again later in the video. But anyway, we have other issues too. We have like more important things like the reflecting pool and trans people existing. So the reflecting pool, we're going to start with that. And then we're going to work our way into the potential economic disaster in the next 2 months that you might not be aware of. So yeah, let's get into it. The reflecting pool. Okay, yeah, it's all nice and it's all painted and yay, did the best job. And oh, it's a good renovation. This is what I'm using. My tax dollars went toward that. Real proud. And then the algae and then the paint chipping off and then the people protesting around it. Don't go there. Don't even go around there. Don't breathe that. Don't expose your skin to that. That's not good. It's not healthy. I know my display picture might be a certain thing. It's AI. It's AI. Don't do that. Okay. Disclaimer. For anybody, Jesus. I just want to make sure. Anyway, listen, here, we're going to get into a real issue here first. The Treaty of Versailles is signed in 1919, June 20th, 1919 in, Versailles. This was for freaking Germany and the Allied power to end their state of war kind of thing. So like the whole thing with that is the war that we just started with Iran, it wasn't just, oh, we're in and out. Oh, it's just going to be it's going to be an operation. Oh, and then it's $1 billion a day. And then we find out that it's $3.4 billion a day. And then you could have taken care of every trans person in America in like 4 days worth of the war for an entire year. But like, okay, sure. Yeah. Like all of every gender affirming everything. But sure. Cool. Trans people are still the problem. It's definitely not anybody else. The straight, we needed to open the strait because the strait was the big thing, right? We needed the oil open. We don't have enough oil. We have reserves in the States, but they have a finite amount of oil. And in 8 to 10 weeks, we are facing like a crisis kind of situation. We're getting to the lowest reserves that we've ever had. And we don't like just make enough oil. We don't have enough oil here to do that. And we haven't pushed our resources in these other outlets to actually have nuclear. Nuclear was kind of the way. It was the way. We started fracking and then we started blowing the water into the ground, and then the plates started shifting. I don't know about nuclear because I wouldn't want a shifty plate nuclear facility up here anyway. But okay, so yeah, we're at the point where we're heavily reliant on the oil coming out of the Strait of Hormuz. We gave them $300 billion. We didn't give them. We planned a $300 billion deal for to help them rebuild after this not war that we started, and we're double tapping little girls' schools. And then when the president's addressed about this, he's just like, "That's a weird question to be asking me." Like after the and they do really good job at making you sign the. They're master negotiator. It's like, no, you're just a really bad strategist or Manchurian candidate, which I've been saying, like, has this been the strategy all along, just to completely tank America, take the global scale away from the United States currency as like the staple, and just seeing the impact of that. That's what is like terrifying to me looking into these things. But what do I know? Again, I'm just some mentally ill tranny, right, Nancy? Hi, Nancy. Let's talk about Nancy for a second. Nancy likes to talk about transgenic mice as if they're transgender. So they put another thing on their Facebook like, oh, stop the transgender mice, no funding toward the transgender mice and everything. And there's 15,000 laugh reacts, like 800 likes. You failed at becoming, the congresswoman, whatever. You failed at becoming the governor, not the congresswoman. So like, give up. Stop it. You're hurting people. Oh, but we're going to protect women. No, you have freaking, I've seen the videos of you walking around. I have been admitted to the psych ward before. I'm not my parents' son anymore, and I get admitted to the psych ward. And the people roaming the halls looked strikingly similar to how Nancy was walking around DC, and all these people are after me, and then Nancy doing the reaction. Oh, and the airport security, whatever, and the whole ordeal with that happened. Get yourself checked out, Nancy. Nobody cares anymore. You're literally, it's such an ongoing joke at this point that it's just like, I don't even feel like covering it. It feels sad to like pay attention to this person. They're obviously very out of check. So that's where we're at with that one. Yeah, we're just kind of bouncing around a little bit. Do you know that, okay, so again, we put Nancy in here, but we're going back to the straight, right? Because the reason why we're going back to the straight is it's a big deal. We gave, yeah, like I said, this $300 billion deal to like make sure that the straight's open. It wasn't that it had to be open, but it was going to be open or something like that. Like, it's just been this freaking ongoing, oh, it's open, it's not open, and market manipulation by saying it's going to be, it's not going to be, and we're gonna bomb the power plants and bridges day, and like all this crazy market manipulation from these posts online. And now we're at the point that we're heavily reliant on like the straight opening just so we can like maintain our civilization here. Western civilization. The entire downfall of the Western civilization could happen. Iran decide to not open the strait. That's kind of where we're at. Yeah, I don't know how to like emphasize this to like the general public, because this isn't what's being covered in the news. This isn't what you're focusing on. You're focusing on trans people existing. You're focusing on a trans 9-year-old wanting they them pronouns in school and laugh reacting that or whatever. Like, great, fantastic. I'm glad that you're distracted in the end times, but like your focus should have been put elsewhere. Whenever we hit this point, if we hit this point, hopefully we don't hit this point, but if we hit this point, I can't help but be like, I told you so. And is that going to be a good feeling for me? No, I get to wait and watch and see it happen in real time. I get to see people be like, but what happened? And everything's in front of you right now. AIPAC has been giving money to the United States to manipulate our elected officials into doing the war, and we thought that this was blackmail on Trump. Originally, we had the understanding of like potentially there's like videos that they're going to release or whatever, and then like immediately after like this peace treaty deal, we have people on TV talking about the Epstein survivors, and like it must have been it had to have happened for a reason. Like, it has to be playing out like this for like a specific reason. Yeah, because like literally this is the timeline to screw Trump over and then flip the whole story and make everybody like Vance. And then now we're at the point where Vance is the voice of reason in America, unfortunately, because like he's doing what Democrats wouldn't do, and we're kind of like he's doing the politics like pretty good and stuff, and that's kind of like where we're at. So maybe pay attention, maybe focus on the real issues, maybe shut the fuck up about trans people. Maybe we don't even have heroes of our own. Like, you look at Sarah McBride accepting money from AIPAC. We don't have heroes. We get to see the ICE detention centers. We get to see people being sent to South America for profit. Early 24, remember these things? Remember the airing on the TV with the judges and the people getting sent before the hearing and all that, right? We've been through a lot. We had the alligator Alcatraz, people disappearing from there. It's been an ongoing everything. Trans people aren't your problem. But you know what? We're going to get into the next one. I'm surprised we haven't talked about this person yet. Oh, actually, before we get into that, we're going to bounce around again. We're just bouncing around everywhere because I want to talk about this first. The White House Situation Room. Do you know the White House Situation Room? If we were going to go and attack China, and we were going to make plans to attack China number one. Listen, China, you guys got to figure it out. Has anybody seen like the streets of Japan and how like everybody collectively works as a society to kind of like make things decent? I know it's probably, culturally so much of a difference, but like it's a total shift than like whenever there's a Turning Point rally and we just like throw garbage everywhere, because that's like the difference between us, right? Cultured, civilized, and just rampant negligence. Anyway, another thing is, this the White House Situation Room. If we were going to go to war tomorrow, if we were going to start another war in 2 weeks, this would be discussed in the White House Situation Room. In the history of the United States, we have never had a breach from the White House Situation Room. And we are at the point where there is a breach from the White House Situation Room. And do you want to know what it is? It's about Trump's nipple torture kinks. I wish I were joking. I wish I were joking. Go ahead and Google it. Just go ahead and look it up. That's kind of the thing. And the White House is scrambling because they don't know who's releasing the information. But again, this is literally the downfall of Trump, the uprising of Vance. We're seeing it in real time. But it's not only just the nipple torture king from Trump. Yeah, I know. It's also about Epstein stuff. Are we ever going to hear about this? No, because the media is compliant with the agenda. So, that's where we're at. Just letting you know. Next person. This one we haven't talked about yet. So this is a person that a lot of trans people have a little bit of an issue with. And by a little bit of an issue, I mean, I have seen some trans women's entire personality become talking down on this one person, and that's their whole personality. It's being trans and talking down on them, and they have nothing else going on, because that's how all-consuming this is to some people. It is damaging to members of my community, and so I have to kind of talk about it. Hi, J.K. Rowling. It's about time we talked about you. So let's talk about J.K. Rowling, the disgraced Harry Potter author, the washed-out writer that couldn't come up with another story and had to keep making sequels, had nothing else. A good writer would probably be able to, I would just think. I don't know. What do I know? I would just think, like, here's the scenario, right? J.K. Rowling, the same J.K. Rowling that in 2020 wrote a blog post that if she were born 30 years later, she would have tried to transition to a man to escape the expectations of womanhood. The same J.K. Rowling that has sunk millions of dollars in the anti-trans ads and propaganda campaigns. J.K. Rowling, I get your thing. I get your whole shtick, right? You are a snake oil salesman that doesn't like the doctor. And what I mean by that is this. If you are a magician, you can't even do the most basic sleight of hand. It's all fake after all, right? It's all fiction. And you see actual magic happening in the world when you have like this internal dialogue that, I might actually be trans. And instead of like embracing that, you go the other way. It's kind of like how like men avoiding the issue of femininity and just, no, I'm not, I'm a big strong. It's the hyper, it's the exact opposite of that, but like the evil rich person version that you're just like, what can I do in my spare time? I know, torture children. Does that make sense? Anyway. Yeah, J.K. Rowling, not so nice. Don't support the Harry Potter. Like every trans person would say this, and somehow it's still just a thing. I don't even know why we're even like consuming any Harry Potter anything. It hasn't been like played out. It wasn't even that good back then. Even when you go back to it, it's like, oh yeah, I was a little tiny kid whenever I just have like, of course it's hard to digest whenever somebody that's like hyper into magic and then you go through the wall at the train station and you can't imagine like something being something it's not. You just can't you can't fathom it. It has to be fiction to you. It couldn't possibly be real. The takeaways, they're there, but J.K. Rowling made a post about taking down WPATH would be the gender critical battle of Stalingrad. So WPATH is an organization that kind of like, it's not like a doctor program. It's like I'm going to butcher it, but it's a place that kind of like has all the information on trans healthcare kind of thing. Google it, look into it. It's like the standard of trans care. So like this whole situation is the criticism of the actual Stalingrad was a major defeat for Yahtzee Germany, and so like the correlations to like what's happening in the modern day, it's kind of there. It's like we're trying to see the erasure of trans people, the LGB without the T. How much of it is a psyop? How much of it is actual like people? There's these groups like, gays against grooming, gays against groomers, or stuff like that. It's like, okay, yeah, there's so many pick-me's. Everybody's a pick-me now. Am I a pick-me? Am I a pick-me? Am I a pick-me yet? I'm gonna try to be the best pick-me that's ever been picked. when I do. So if I go, if I do go that route, listen, I'm just trying to like educate people on a couple things. And like the trans experience has already been so stressful enough, but like we constantly have all these laws, and we have the author of a fictional novel celebrating our demise, an act of time, putting the money into it, maybe taking a step back, but then maybe, so it's just, we continue to see this. So there's if you didn't know, that there's a lawsuit in the States against the WPATH through Texas, Iowa, Nebraska, and Alaska. These 4 states, it's essentially going to be a court case kind of thing, federal hearings, and to the best of my ability to like explain the situation, it could be litigated for years. It could essentially affect trans youth care for years, the judgment and effect of trans youth care for years, even though that like globally we understand as a whole. And by the way, again, we're just going to take like the take of like, if you were so depressed that you needed an antidepressant to not like end it, right? And you found the cure, and you're taking the cure, and you're like, okay, I can finally live my life. Wow, I feel like I'm finally in my own. But then like people say you cannot have this medication. It's against God's design. It's against God's will and plan. And they identify, J.K. Rowling's a Christian, by the way, identifies as a Christian. It's kind of goofy. And just the takeaway of that, we have to like, we have to control the whole freaking, there's too much. I'm scrambled at this point. At this point, I don't even know what I was talking about. I'm just going to move on because I don't have time to go back. It's to the point that we just continuously attack trans people. And it's like, we have all of this, but like, also like, you have to understand that when the science backs it up, when trans people are giving their testimonials left, right, and center, when there are people online that consistently come out of the woodwork that are just like, and these men in the women's room, and and they can't give a single example, but they have a 500,000 following group. There's this one lesbian woman that I saw that's doing push-ups and whatever. If I can find it like in 2 seconds, I'll say it, but it's just so stupid. It's so stupid. Again, another pick me. It's just like, why go after a group whenever it's just like, if you look at the LGBT community, if it even is a community, because there's so much separation anymore, there's so much stigma between so many groups. Yeah, we're all kind of sticking for each other in the end. And then there's these weird like psyop-y kind of groups, right? But if you look at the whole picture as an iceberg, and the trans people break off, sea level rises up, and then, oh, what's the next? Okay, we go after gay marriage. Okay, well, sodomy's back, gay people. Okay, well, lesbians, well, you were kind of cool, but no. Hey, being bi, that's not cool. And we just slowly work. But everybody knows the domino effect of this is a very real thing, because once you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. And I think that things should be discussed and talked about in a way that we can actually talk and discuss about things, so we don't end up in a situation where it's like, oh, okay, now things have developed to a point of no return, to a point that we can't like, that we have to replicate history again. So it ends up like World War II again. And do you understand that if we do continue the route that we are obviously headed on, if I haven't made it clear in this video, that in the future, if trans people do end up in the ICE camps, if we do end up in the medical waste incinerators for the medical waste and nothing else, trademark, I'm going to get that on a shirt eventually. Who's next? Because like historically, after everyone was released in World War II, the gays were imprisoned. The gays still were imprisoned. The gays didn't get off. They didn't get out. They didn't get off scotch-free. It wasn't good. Guess what? It wasn't good. And listen, I'm just some probably autistic trans person that was really good at the Xbox one time. At one point in my life, I'm good at the trash talking. I'm somewhat correlative, but I'm bouncing around as much as I can to try to cover. And like, again, like there's so much to everything that it's just like, and I feel like I'm trying to paint a bigger picture of things. How many people know that the sea currents are collapsing, which isn't good for the sea currents? And I know that the ocean's enormous and nobody lives in the ocean, so it must not be happening, right? Or like we've had this fear of global warming, and it's always been the global warming, and it's going to happen, and the blah blah blah. Listen, we're at the point that like we're going to have there's global ocean currents are experiencing unprecedented shifts, primarily driven by human-caused climate change. This is when you Google what is happening to ocean currents currently. I'm not looking up some like, anything that climate change isn't real. We've had the vice president, as this presidency was going into effect, that he came on TV and it's like, we're not fact checking anymore when they were talking about climate change, and now we're here. We're the hottest country ever. Has anybody heard the president say that recently? Yeah, we are. And in the next 3 or 4 years, we could potentially be facing kind of a not so great situation. So about 100 years ago, there was a famine caused by a freaking El Nino that happened in the ocean, and it left about 50 million people dead. And we're at the point where we have something coming up called a Godzilla El Nino that could last for like around the same. It could last for like 3 to 4 years. And this could be happening kind of soon. And the data's there, and it's kind of scary. And if you can understand these things, look into it a little bit. I know that it's really hard to even talk about anything because you try to talk about it and somebody's going to be like, oh, well, yeah, well, climate change. And they've been saying that forever. I don't know what to I don't know what to tell anybody anymore. Just take a look at it. Take a look at what's potentially coming down the road. Maybe don't be so wasteful with spending. Maybe stock up on food. Maybe learn how to garden. Maybe learn to live off the land. If you're going to play a video game, maybe look into Project Zomboid. It might teach you some end time survival. It's a good one for you. As far as like the state of this country, I don't even know. Like I said, we're at the point where America has like two realities that we're never going to like be in a same shared state anymore. Like back 25 years ago or whatever, it was Iran's the enemy and the weapons of mass destruction. And there's like nobody's buying that. But like even still, you know, food for thought, right? A lot of food for thought. And to be anti-Israel is not to be anti-Jew. Like there's a very distinct difference. There are Jewish people that are anti-Israel because they have a unquenched bloodshed, like they have to just keep doing, like why are they using thermobaric bombs to evaporate people, bones and all, just a little bit of like fleshy matter left over after they like vaporize people? Why are they testing these type of weapons? I don't know. I'm probably on a list now, and whatever. I mean, I'm just trying to talk on the things that I hear, the things that I think are important to address. Are trans people the biggest issue in the world? Is hatred a problem? And have people like grown to be like, okay, this constant negativity, this constant hatred, even within like the Republican Party, have people been like, okay, well, this is like, and do Republicans start this with each other too? Do they start, and it's like, I'm one of you. Does that happen at all? I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I'm just wondering, like, little nothing burger to end the video on. I don't know if I discussed this before, but my neighbor's an enormous Trumper. They have the signs all through their yard every voting cycle kind of thing, right? And I go out and swim in a bikini, and they've never said anything to me once. They've never had a problem with me once. I think most of this is more, online course fighting kind of thing, but then at the same time there are real life implications. Like I said in a previous video, there were, as of the last time that I looked, it was like 11 trans women that were murdered in the last 3 months, but that was like a few months ago. That was like a few weeks ago at this point. So it's just like, you have to understand, I'm coming from the place of trying to cause the least amount of damage to this community. Like I'm trying to like save face as much as we can here, because like we've already like manipulated enough of the population to think that we're some sort of like sick group or whatever. Like, listen, and I have to say one last time that when I transitioned, I didn't even know about Pride Parade. I didn't know there was a trans flag until like a few years into trans. I think it was like 5 years into trans. I think it was like 2018. It was the year that I found out there was a trans flag. Like, stop putting experiences into trans people's existences. Stop telling me I cut my dick off, okay? Stop coming into my inbox and trying to flirt with me when you have a wife. Just can we like I don't know. What's the takeaway? You tell me. At this point, you tell me. I'm just here and I'm just rambling, so I got a date to go to. Bye.